guys, welcome to Light Screening, the channel for movie lovers more than movie savvies, and today we're going to be talking about 1917, the Sam Mendes film that we all thought was going to win Best Movie at the Oscars, but didn't. That 1917. So let's get into that. Let's try to figure out why that happened, or at least to get a little bit into the depths of this movie and why is it so awarded, because it was very awarded. So this is a movie by Sam Mendes. It's actually based on the stories of his grandfather Alfred Mendes that fought in the First World War. And it's about these couple of soldiers that have a mission, and the mission is to deliver a message beyond enemy lines, beyond what is perceived as enemy lines. The enemy is pulling back, but they are not sure if they are crossing the lines or not, if they pulled back or not, and they have to cross supposedly the last known enemy lines, and they have to deliver a message that could save thousands of lives. This premise is not exactly new. I mean, a run against time. We've seen this before. It's very exciting. They have a mission. They have to go against all odds. This is not exactly new. This was written by Sam Mendes and Krysty Wilson-Cairns. I'm not sure this is well said. Cairns. C-A-I-R-N-S. I'm not sure how it's spelled, how it's said, but this is actually their first long feature film, and there may be a reason here for why they weren't nominated or won anything to do with script, but we'll get there. So what did win? Cinematography. People are talking about this cinematography, and we'll get into that as well. Cinematography was made by Roger Deakins. He's actually quite an experienced cinematographer or director of photography. He did, he's got, I think 80 entries at IMDb. So that's as a cinematographer, as a photography director. So that is pretty damn amazing. So he did, just to name a few, Blade Runner 2049, Hail Caesar, Sicario, Skyfall, In Time, etc. So I'm not going to mention 80, but as you can see, it's only in these are some pretty great films. So the main characters are played by Dean Charles Chapman. He did Blinded by the Light, Breathe. He was actually in the cast of Game of Thrones. He did The King, Before I Go to Sleep, etc. George MacKay, kudos to George MacKay. I liked George MacKay in this movie. I did. Not enough to be nominated for awards, but he, because that's not what stands out. The performances are not what stand out at all, but he did well. Dean Charles Chapman and George MacKay. So George MacKay did Captain Fantastic, Peter Pan, Pride, French Exchange, Marrowbone, a lot of others. He's got a few names to his list. Also in this cast are Colin Firth, that I love. It's always nice to see Colin Firth, and Mark Strong. Why am I mentioning Colin Firth? I love, period. I have to mention him. Mark Strong, why? And allow me this very, very personal note. Mark Strong comes into the scene. First, we don't see him, we hear his voice. And I remember sitting in the dark and I go like, this voice, I know it. Oh my God, who is him? Who is he? Mark Strong. He's got a gorgeous voice, and I always feel the same in his movies. Gorgeous voice. Just a note. I love voices, and he's got this full, masculine, warm voice. So just the voice just got to me, and then he gets into the shot, and oh yeah, Mark Strong. Yes, that's right. So anyway, this movie won a lot of awards. It actually won 7 Baftas. 7. Film, British film, special visual effects, cinematography, best sound, best direction, production design. 2 Golden Globes, Best Picture and Best Director. Oscars, it won cinematography, sound mixing, and visual effects. We actually thought it would win Best Direction and Best Movie. It didn't. I thought it would win At least I thought it would win both at the Oscars. I gotta be honest with you, because artistically it's more unforgettable and more it's a bigger challenge, if you will, than Parasite. Okay, but I totally understand why Parasite won. It deserved to win because it is freaking unforgettable. Okay, but artistically and production wise and in production value, actually 1917 is a more challenging film and a more different, if you will, film than Parasite, artistically and in production, in what comes to production. So it's a big film to make, and a bold choice for a film in the way it was shot, but we'll get into that. But Parasite indeed is Parasite. Even if I wanted to, I will never forget it. So that means that it's one hell of a movie and it deserved best movie. I don't have a problem with that. But I was convinced this was the one. 1917 was the one. So what is it that people don't like about it? Because there are things that people don't like, and people are talking online about that. And I agree. I gotta say that I agree. The script is the premise is unusual. Is unusual premise, so it's not something that is never seen before. And the script does have a lot of those moments that you feel like they couldn't have happened. Let's just say it like that. People are talking a lot about some moments that statistically couldn't have happened, especially so many in a row. So the script is based on that. It's based on events that are not that usual. So let me explain this. When you are sitting in the dark at a movie theater, your perception of reality expands. What do I mean by this? I mean that you accept that even if statistically that couldn't have happened, you accept that this once it did. It happened to those characters. So, you forgive it. And people are saying that there are a lot of those moments to forgive. I gotta be honest with you, I agree with what they are saying, but at the moment I was watching the movie, I wasn't paying attention to that. I believed it. I was on the ride. I was completely immersed into the movie. I was having a lot of fun, very entertained. I didn't notice those moments. I mean, they stay in my subconscious, and I go like, oh, okay. But I forgave them, so it didn't bother me. But when I read about them, I went like, yeah, they're right. Absolutely, they're right. Yeah. The script indeed is not a strong script. So what is strong? And there is another thing that I don't think was particularly well done. It was the props. There are some bodies in the legs of a guy that drags through the floor after plane crash. You'll know what I mean. The legs are quite honestly and very obviously prosthetics, and obviously they are prosthetics, but I shouldn't have noticed that. So when we noticed that and I noticed it, it means that it could have been made better. But that didn't bother me either. I mean, it bothered me a little bit because I noticed it, but then the movie kind of makes up for that. It totally does. And why do I say that artistically it's different? That why are people thinking that this is great? Why? Because it was shot with a technique that is called the one shot. Okay, what is the one shot? The one shot, everybody's talking about it, obviously. The one shot is when you make a movie that seems like only one big sequence, only one big action. It starts and it never ends until the end. So that's how it was made. To get this done, you need a lot of cameras, you need a lot of it was shot actually in natural light, because you can put lights into the shots, because there were a lot of cameras shooting the movie. The movements were actually choreographed. They actually did a real set, so the production value is actually extraordinary. I agree that the production design is absolutely stunning. They actually dug up the trenches. They actually choreographed the movements of the actors. They actually timed the movements of the actors so that they could get the shot clean and they could get from point A to point B with all of that movement being captured, so that you feel what? So that you feel like you're on the mission with them, because it's like you're shadowing them. You're a partner. You see what they see. You know what they know. Your range of view, if you will, is what they have. So that's it. You start the mission with them. You end the mission with them, and you get tired doing so. That's what's beautiful about this movie, is that you are there. It's like you're here, you know, you're right here with them. You're running along with them. So that is incredible. And it, to me, I was super entertained. I was completely immersed into the action. I really had fun at this movie, even with the flaws I said. And there is one more thing that I read. I read a review by a soldier, obviously a soldier from a more recent war, but he said that he's been reading, I didn't read that, but he said in his review that he'd been reading that people think that the movie is not an emotional movie, that there is no space for emotion, that the soldiers go through stuff and they just keep going. There is no time to grieve, or there is no time to feel. It's like they don't feel anything and they just keep going. So it's not emotional. It's not. They say that it's not too real because it wasn't emotional, because they should have felt more. And this soldier in his review says that's battle. You know, you have a mission, you fulfill it. I mean, the world may be falling around you. You just keep going. You grieve later, you know? And I get that, and I got that in the movie theater. I got it. I felt each of the things that those characters felt, you know? And that I thought was a great ride. I do recommend this movie, absolutely recommend this movie. Please know that the script is not a great script. That's not the value of this movie. The movie actually artistically, in what comes to cinematography is pretty damn amazing. Beautifully shot. With this technique that actually puts you there. So that was a bold choice, and I loved it, and I loved watching it. One more little thing that was also not the best. I was thinking about the cinematography. The cinematography is beautiful. Most is shot by in a natural light. There is one scene though, and that is the one scene that I didn't believe at the moment I was in the movie, and it had nothing to do with the script and the event. It had to do with the lighting. It's beautiful to watch, and I forgive it because it's beautiful to watch. I commented with the person that was next to me, and she felt the same. We were like, that scene, and yeah, that scene was gorgeous, but I didn't believe a thing about it, about the lighting. I mean, because it's supposed to be this town in ruins that is lighted by a huge fire, and the choreography before you know what is lighting it is not consistent. So the shadows don't come from the same sides; they come from different directions. But visually, it's such a beautiful scene to watch that I completely forgive it. Okay, so artistically, to me, it was a good ride. It was a fabulous ride. I loved watching it. I think it was a bold choice from Sam Mendes. By the way, Sam Mendes, I didn't say it at the beginning, but he did like movies that were very strong movies. American Beauty, Revolutionary Road, Jarhead. He also did some 007 movies, Skyfall, Inspector, I think. Anyway, he does emotional movies, big movies. And this is a big movie as well in production value and cinematography. That's the best about it. So I do recommend it. To the blast from the past. The blast from the past. I was looking at the list, the long list of movies that Roger Deakins was the director of photography in, and there was one that stuck with me. Actually, Blade Runner also stuck with me, obviously, 2049. Blade Runner was a fabulous movie, but it's from 2017. Well, 1917, 2017. I could have recommended this one. I will. To hell with it. Please watch Blade Runner 2049 because it's pretty damn amazing. One of those that you can't forget. Either it's by Denis Villeneuve and with Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling as the main character, but Harrison Ford as well from the previous Blade Runner. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous movie. I'll recommend it. The one that I was going to recommend to you was called In Time. I was going to recommend this one because it's not a movie that people consider unforgettable, but I found it quite interesting because it was directed by Andrew Niccol. It's got Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried and Cillian Murphy and Olivia Wilde, and Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried actually are the couple, the main characters. And what is this about? This is about a time in the future where people only live until they are 25 and they stay 25 forever if they can buy time. The others that can't buy time are left with exchanging and stealing and time. So I found that very interesting because it's not just a movie, an action movie. It's actually an exercise on time. So check it out because, and remember what I'm saying, because you can look at it and say, oh cool, it's an action film. Okay. Because then someone is chased because it's wrongfully accused of murder, Justin Timberlake, and then things happen and they have to run and all of that. But you can look at it as a mere action movie, or you can look at it as an essay about time. Just look at it that way and take your conclusions to your own time and how you use it. Okay, so I found that interesting because I got out of the theater and I was like, I think there are some lessons there. You know what I mean? Nothing that we don't know, but you know. So check out In Time, and please check out 1917 because it's worth watching. And tell me what you think. Did you think that it was fair for The Parasite to win Best Movie, or do you think that 1917 should have won it? And another thing that you can tell me: do you prefer this angle? Because I was doing in portrait and now I'm doing in landscape. I'm filming in landscape. What do you think? If you could give me a shout out and tell me, I would appreciate it. And please subscribe, like, share if you think that what I'm saying is at all interesting. Okay, bye bye. Go to the movies. Thank you for watching.